So it is day 11. It's Thursday. Okay, so I'm going to write the date. It's Thursday, January 30th. Oh, yes.
69.
69.
Me and my granddaughter.
Wow. All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap up our conversations. Let's get quiet. Let's get started. We're going to look at number 1. Number 1, I have negative 3p plus 6p. Now, are these like terms?
Yes.
Yes, so I can do it. What's the answer?
3p.
Oh, 2p? 3p? 3. Good. Yes, I heard you wrong. My bad. 3p. Now, why is it 3p? How do we know?
Because
It's a negative 3.
Yes.
yeah, 6
Yes.
is negative 3.
Yes. Negative 3 plus 6 is 3. And since they both have a p, we can just put that on our answer. 3p. Good. Good, good, good. That's number 1. Let's look at number 2. Before we shout answers out, let's figure out what are our like terms. What can be put together? And I'm going to color code them.
B and B.
Okay, so we have B, and we have
2B.
got 2B. Now let's be careful with just saying 2B. That is correct, but is it going to be a positive 2B, or are we taking away 2B?
Negative.
It's minus 2b, so we can think of it as negative 2. Now, what's going on with this b by itself?
It doesn't have a
Usually a
number.
1.
There's not a number there, so thank you, Angela, you're right. If there's not a number next to the variable, we can ask ourselves, well, how many b's do I see right here? 1. So this is really 1b. 1b. So what's 1b minus 2b?
Minus b.
Yes, yes. So it would be negative 1b, or you could just write negative b. Either one is right.
Minus b.
Or minus b. Yep. So
Plus 3.
yes, and then we're doing the same thing we did on number 1.
Minus
Negative 3
3.
plus 6. Let's see. Oh, so it's 3. Now, is that a positive 3 or a negative 3? Positive, yes. So since it's positive 3, do I write plus or minus?
Plus.
Plus.
That's okay.
Yes. So let's make sure we check our answers as we go. Ah, look at that. That's right. Negative b plus 3.
Oh.
Ah, that's good. Perfect. Yes, we do have an answer key on the back. Perfect. Okay. How about number 3?
It's the same. You
6.
put the 1.
6. Yes, because 7 minus 1 is 6, so 6x. Good. Good. And guys, as we're doing these, stop me if you're confused. Stop me if you have questions. I want to make sure we all feel okay.
Can we make a mental note with that too in our notes when it's just a letter?
Yes.
Always-
No, thank you for asking that. Let's go ahead, and while we're doing this, we'll take notes on the sides. Let me grab my notebook. And let's see. We'll start some notes as we do this. Okay, so as we are solving these problems and simplifying, we're also going to be taking notes. So if there's things that you think would be helpful to have in your notes, write them down with me. So quick pause from the worksheet. I'm going to start a page of notes, and we're going to write that down. Now, if if I'm telling you to write things and you're like, I already know that, you don't have to write them, but it never hurts, okay? So, pre-algebra. And we are in Unit 1. I'm sorry, did someone say something?
Yeah, because I never did know that. That's part of the reason why I keep failing math.
And that's okay, we're learning. You're learning new things. That's awesome. I actually love it when we make mistakes in class, especially like when we make mistakes out loud in front of everyone. It helps all of us learn because we can correct it together and we learn from it together. I love it. I don't ever want anyone to be embarrassed to say something wrong in here. When you say something wrong in here, you help every person in the room. You do. It's a good thing. Well, there is right or wrong answers, but there's no right or wrong, no right or wrong questions. Yes. So I love it. I love whenever we mess up, because then we can help each other. So let me just write also that this is day 11. Day 11 notes. And it is Thursday, January 30th. Okay. So, I'm going to write a little note that says, when a variable is by itself, and I'm going to put in parentheses no number, like there's no number next to it, we can assume that there is an invisible number 1. And I'm going to write some examples. So, for example, if I have P, this is the same thing as 1P. These are the same thing. If I have X by itself, it's the same thing as 1X. They are the same. What if I had negative N? What number would be in front of negative N? Negative 1. Good. So negative 1N. So just remember, if there is not a number in front of your variable, that number is 1. It's just invisible. And I like to think of it like this. You know, I'm looking at this letter P. How many P's do I see right there? 1. So there's 1 P. The only time it's not 1 is if there's a number in front of it that isn't 1. Okay. So just a little note to take. And then I'm going to put this to the side. And we're going to go back to the worksheet. And if we have any other notes we decide to take, then we'll pull this back out. And then I heard somebody talking. Yes? Was somebody asking me a question? Was I talking over someone?
No, I just said thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay. All right, can I move this, or does anyone still need it? I'm going to move it. Okay. So let's look now at number 4. 7P minus 10P. Yes, minus 3P or negative 3P. So if you think about this, guys, 7 minus 10, we're taking away more than we have, so it's got to be negative. Good. Okay, let's look at number 5. Negative
4.
Ooh, yes.
-4V.
Negative 10V plus 6V is negative 4V. Good. Very good. And remember, guys, if you have questions, stop me. I won't be upset. Stop me. Okay, how about number 6?
1R.
1R. Good.
You can say all.
Yes, or you can say R.
Yes.
Just by itself. Both are correct.
Yes.
So I'm going to circle both of them. These are both right answers. Both of them are correct. And same with up here for number 2. You could also have negative 1b plus 3. Both of these answers I will take. I'm not going to count you wrong if you do or don't write the 1. You just have to have the negative sign. Okay. All right, let's try number 7. Now, what are our like terms?
5 and
Yes. We have 5r, we have negative 9r. So we can put those together. So what's 5r minus 9r?
-4.
Good.
Negative for R.
Negative 4r. And what else?
You bring down the 9 plus.
9.
Good. So we can bring down 9 plus negative 4r. Or, there's 2 ways we could write this. If we're doing, if negative 4r, this is negative, do I really need to write the plus sign?
No.
No, you don't have to. You could also write 9 minus 4r.
Yes.
Yes. So remember, adding a negative is the same thing as subtraction. It's one less thing to write. Yes. Awesome. Okay. Let's look at number 8.
11.
Ooh, yes. 1 and 10 go together to make 11.
And then bring down the negative
11 minus
3.
3.
Yep. Bring down that 3v, minus 3v. 11 minus 3v. Very good. Very good. Okay. And again, stop me if you have questions. Stop me if you're not sure how we got an answer. I want you to understand. Okay. Yes, Vichel.
How did you find 11 minus 3b?
Good question. So, we see that I have minus 3v, and I can't put that with anything else. Nothing else has a v on it. And then I have 1 plus 10. So, 1 plus 10 is 11. And then I just take my minus 3v and put it next to 11. Because we can't put those together. They don't have the same variable. They are not like terms. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good. Any other questions? Okie dokie. Let's look at number 9. 14 in. Good. How about 10?
4b plus 2.
4B plus 2.
Yes, 4b. There's no other b's, so it stays the same. And then 6 minus 4 is 2. So 4b plus 2. Good. Okay, how about number 11?
35 and
Oh, let's see. So I have 35 in. That's one term by itself. And then I have negative 1 plus 46.
Plus 45.
Yes, it will be a positive 45 plus 45. So 35 in
Plus
plus 45. Good, good. Okay, so we have to be careful. Remember, we're not just doing minus 1 plus 46. We are doing minus 1 and 46. So if I'm putting, I'm taking 1 away, okay? I'm not taking away 1 plus 46. If this was in parentheses, it would be minus, but it's not. Does everybody get that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's try number 12. This one's tricky.
negative 82v.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, so negative 33v minus 49v is negative, what did you say, 82?
82V.
82v. Remember, when you are subtracting a negative, we can just change this into plus negative. Negative 33 plus negative 49 is negative 82. V.
So why
Go ahead.
is it negative? I'm sorry.
Why is it negative? So I'm starting with,
Three smaller.
No, but
so we're starting with negative 33. So I already have a negative amount. I have less than 0. I've got negative 33. And then I'm taking away from an already negative number. So that negative 33 is just going to get even more negative and be a bigger negative number. So negative 82. Yes.
I knew it was.
Yeah, you got it. Okay. Any other questions on this one? Number 12?
That's
Okay.
what I got,
Well, good.
you know, so.
Right. Right. It's always good to ask and make sure you understand it. 13, what's that?
38 in.
Yes, 38 in. Good. Yeah, that one, they threw you an easy one. Okay, how about,
38 X.
aha, 38. 7 plus 31 is 38x. Okay, now we're going to get into the more tricky ones. Woo.
48x plus negative 11.
Okay, is anyone getting 48x plus?
Minus 22,
I got 28.
28
X.
X.
Okay.
Minus 11.
I bet you, we got a bunch of answers. Okay, let's break this one down, okay? So, first I'm going to highlight my numbers or my terms with an X. I have 10x. I have minus 38x.
So it's a plus 10x
Yes.
minus 38x.
So, let's start with the x's. 10x minus 38x. What is that?
28
Positive or negative?
positive.
Negative.
It's going to be
Negative.
negative because I'm starting with only 10. If I have $10 in my bank account and I go spend 38 bucks, I'm going to have a negative balance, guys. I'm spending more than I have. So, negative 28x. And then I have a 36 minus 47.
Minus 11.
Yes, 36 minus 47, same thing. We're going to have a negative answer because we're taking away a bigger number than we started with. So, minus 11. So, we want to put these together now, and our answer is negative 28x minus 11.
My mind always wants to make it harder.
Right.
Instead of, I could have thought that way this whole time.
And you know what? That is, I'm sure we've got everybody else in the room with so many different ways of trying to figure things out. And also, I think, you know, we're all getting back in the groove of it. You're doing great. We're all learning. We're doing wonderful. That is all good. Okay. Do we have questions on 15? Is that a yes? That a no? We good?
I got it.
Okay. So now comes the crazy ones. We did not go over these yesterday.
Oh, I got negative 10.
But some of y'all might have it. Let's see. So, first of all, before we give an answer, what do we do to start this?
Negative 2 times 7.
Yes.
Minus 40.
Okay, so here, let's start by writing real slowly. Let's make a note. Okay, I'm going to pull out my notes and we're going to make a note because this is a new thing that we're learning. Unless you already know it, that's amazing. But just in case, I want to give some direct instruction on this because this is tricky. So, whenever I have something like, let's see, I'm going to write this problem out. 16. It is 2 or negative 2. So, negative 2 parenthesis 7 minus n parenthesis plus 4. Okay. So, whenever we have a number outside of a set of terms or numbers in parentheses, what we need to do, especially because, so normally if we knew what n was, we would do 7 minus that number first. But we don't know what n is. We're not going to know what n is. So we're going to jump straight to the next step, which is multiplying. Okay? So normally if you see a number next to another number in parentheses, we multiply. So we're going to draw some arrows and do something fancy called distribution. Okay? So what I need to do now is multiply two different things.
Before that,
I am doing -2 times 7, and I'm doing, so I'm going to write a plus for and, that's just like an and sign, -2 times -n, minus n. So, and -2 times -n. Okay, so let's see. What is -2 times +7?
-14.
-14. And then what is -2 times -n?
Plus 2n.
Positive, the negatives cancel, so it becomes positive 2n. So when you multiply a number times a variable that's by itself, you just stick the number on it. That's all you do. So it's -14 plus 2n, and then we still have plus 4 left. We got to bring that down. Plus 4. But are we done?
No.
No. What do we need to do now?
Take the -14 plus 4.
Yes, we still have like terms that need to be combined. I have -14 and I have plus 4. What happens there?
You're adding.
-14 plus 4.
Gives you -10.
Ooh, two different answers. I'm hearing -18, I'm hearing -10. Which one is it?
-10
-10. So, if it was -4, it would be -18 because we're starting with a negative number. But remember, if we start with a negative value, I like to think of it as money. I've got -$14 in my bank account. If I add $4 to my bank account, my money is going to become a little less negative because I paid off $4 of that debt. So instead of owing 14, I owe 10 because I paid off 4 of that 14. So I've got -10 plus 2n. I still have plus 2n. Okay, so -14 plus 4 is -10 plus 2n. So a quick note, whenever you see a number, I'm going to write right here, distribution. Just to make a note to remind us what we do when we see parentheses. All this means is if I have like 3 times x minus 2, okay, it just means I'm doing 3 times x and 3 times minus 2. We're multiplying. Or you could think of it as I'm doing 3 times x minus 3 times 2. And just carry that minus down. You'll get the same answer. And what would that be? 3 times x is? 3 what? 3x, good. And minus, what's 3 times 2? 6. So that would be our answer for this example. Distribution is just multiplying. And I always like to draw the arrows. It just helps me remember what I'm doing. Okay, so there's another little note to have. And then we'll go back to our worksheet. Can I move this though? Does anyone still need this? Okay, I'm going to move it. So we just did number 16 and the answer was -10 plus 2n. Good. Okay. Here's another tricky one. I think I'm going to start, I might show my work on my note paper because there's not a lot of room on here.
Yeah, that's 45b plus 5b, 56.
Yeah, that's right. Let's work it out together. So I'm going to write on my notes number 17 because I'm running out of room on my page. 17 is negative 8 times negative 5b plus 7 plus 5b. Okay, so what do I do first on number 17?
Negative 8 times 7.
Oh, that's okay. So I want to acknowledge what you said. So you were thinking we're going to start with, okay, 5 plus 5. And if there were not parentheses here, you would be correct. But since there's parentheses, we need to get rid of them first. And since we don't know what b is, I can't really add these together first. And that's when we would use distribution. That's when we're going to take negative 8 times negative 5b, and then negative 8 times positive 7. So what is negative 8 times negative 5?
40.
Yes, 40, positive 40b, and
Minus.
yes. Now I have negative 8 times positive 7.
Oh.
So we are it is gonna be minus, you're right. But 8 times 7, what is that? 56, and it's negative because we're taking a negative times a positive. So since it's a negative number, we write minus 56. And is that our answer? Are we done?
No, we're not.
No!
Plus 5.
Good. Plus 5b. Good catch. Good. Now are we done?
No.
No! We still have like terms.
14b plus 5b.
Yes, 40b plus 5b gives us 45b minus 56. Good. That's our answer for 17. That is it. So I'm going to write that on my paper. Very nice, guys. 17. 45b minus 56. Oh my gosh, I know. This is from my cats. My cats, they just like, it's bad. They're bad.
I had to keep one in my bedroom.
It's terrible. Well, my cat is blind, so he thinks my hand is a toy. It's bad.
I have to get him declawed.
I know.
I got one declawed and I found out what they did.
I know. It's so sad. Okay, let's look at number 18. I'm going to write the problem on here because, again, I want to have room to work it out. So,
2p.
18, let's see. I have, thank you, negative 4p minus, parentheses, 1 minus 6p. Okay, this one is extra tricky. There's a couple of things going on here. So, what are we thinking we should do first?
4p times 1.
4p.
Ooh.
You say 4p minus 4p.
No, minus
No.
4 minus
Let me-
6.
Let me.
Yes, okay, you talk.
Minus 4p
Uh-huh,
after
After?
Minus 1
uh-huh.
plus 6p.
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness, we haven't learned this. So listen, I'm going to write what he just told me. Minus 4p, I'm just bringing this down.
Yes.
Minus 1 plus 6p.
You do it the minus 4.
Uh-huh, yes. So here's what happened. Negative 4p. This is one term by itself. This is separate.
Yes.
And what's happening here is we have minus this quantity in parentheses, minus this. So he just distributed the negative. Think of it as being a negative 1. So instead of it being 1, we're doing minus 1. And then we're doing minus negative 6p. Minus negative is the same thing as plus. So when you distribute a negative sign like this, It just changes the sign of everything in the parentheses. So, I'll give another example. If I have, this is just a random one, 3 plus 7p. Okay. What would happen here if I distribute the negative? This would change from positive 3 to what? Negative 3 plus 7p to what?
Minus 7.
Minus 7p. Good. If I have, here's another example.
2x
So
minus 3.
I just changed the sign of everything in the parentheses. I take the negative 2x, it turns into positive 2x,
Minus.
and then this changes from plus 3 to minus 3. So anytime you see a minus sign or a negative sign outside of parentheses, you just change the sign of everything inside. Let's make a note of that, okay? So I'm going to label this note as distributing a negative.
Okay.
Distributing a negative. That's a tricky one, guys. That's a very tricky one. Yes. That is good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. So there we go. So when we distribute, we're multiplying by everything. If we're distributing a negative sign, we're just multiplying everything by, basically by -1. Just like if there's not a number next to a variable, if there's not a number next to this negative sign, we assume it's like -1. Okay. So let's finish number 18, that problem here.
Minus 14.
2p minus 1.
Yeah, so we have minus 4p, we have plus 6p.
2p
Yes,
minus
2p minus 1. Good job, guys. Good, good, good. Everybody got that? Everyone understand?
What was it?
1.
So for number 18, that's the one we were on. So we distributed that negative. We made it -1 plus 6p. And then we combined our 4p, or our -4p, our plus 6p. And -4 plus 6 is 2. We can also think of it as 6 minus 4. That's 2. That's how we got 2p. And then we just took down the -1 and put it on the end. Okay. Okay. And another way to think of number 18, because I see a few faces that look a little confused and maybe you don't want to ask a question. That's okay. I'm going to try to explain this slightly differently before we go to the next one. So let me rewrite the problem one more time, and if you get it, great, but if not, listen to this. This might help. So instead of thinking of this as distributing the negative and I'm changing all the signs and all of that, think of it like this. I'm doing -4p minus everything in the parentheses. I'm subtracting everything in the parentheses. So I'm doing -4p minus 1. That's the first thing in the parentheses. And then I'm doing -4p minus -6p. So minus -6p, right? And what do we do when we have two minus signs right beside each other? They change into a plus. So now we get the same thing as we did over here. -4p minus 1 plus 6p. -4p minus 1 plus 6p.
But see, this, the simplest way to do it is either take -4 minus +6, you're gonna get 2, and then bring
Yep.
down -1.
That's right. That's absolutely right. You could also think of it as we've got a +6 over here. We've got a -4. 6 minus 4 is 2. And then we just got to bring down that -1, that -1.
The other way is just a little harder.
Right. Right. And everybody's brain works differently. To some people, this makes more sense. To some, this makes more sense.
Yeah.
It just depends on how your brain works. Okay. Any questions on that one, or do you want to go to 19?
Right.
Yes. Yes. Go ahead.
I don't get like, negative thing, like putting negative stuff.
Okay, so we don't get whenever, like, if I do minus a negative, why does that turn into a plus? Okay, let's talk about that. So, I'm going to try to explain it using a number line real quick. And this is page 2 of the notes that I'm giving you today. So just a quick refresher on why does that turn into a plus. All right. Okay, so here's 0, and let's say I'm doing 3 minus 2. I'm just doing 3 minus 2. There's 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to put some negatives. Okay? So, first example, 3 minus 2. If I start at 3 and I subtract 2, I take away 2. Would I move to the right 2 or to the left 2? Left or right? Left. I'm taking away 2, so I need to go towards where the numbers get smaller. So minus 2, that would be 1. Okay, so 3 minus 2 is 1. If I do 3 minus negative 2, what's happening here is I'm starting with 3, but then I am taking away a negative 2. Whenever I take away positive 2, I go to the left. If negative 2 is the opposite of positive 2, then we need to move in the opposite direction as well. So 3 minus 2, I go left 2, I get 1. 3 minus negative 2, I'm moving to the right instead because negative 2 is the opposite of positive 2. So I'm going to go from 3 to 4 to 5 here. It's just like how if you are looking at a number line and here's 0, you can see just by the definition of what a negative number is, it's like the 0 is the mirror in the middle, and the numbers that are positive and negative, they are opposite and they're kind of mirroring each other. So on this side I have 1. The opposite of 1 is negative 1. Then I have positive 2. The opposite of positive 2 is negative 2. Next I have positive 3. The opposite of positive 3 is negative 3. So when you subtract a negative number, you're doing the opposite of what you would do when you subtract a positive number, because negative is the opposite of positive. So they just act in the opposite way. And whenever I move to the right, I also can see that 3 plus 2 is also 5. So these must be the same because I get the same answer. Does that help a little bit? Okay. It's a tricky concept to understand, and I truly think that learning this is harder than learning the most difficult concepts in math that there are to learn. The basics are the hardest thing to learn. But once you know these, everything is so much easier. Every student I've ever taught says pre-algebra is the hardest class they take, and it only gets easier from there. And I promise you that. This is the hardest part. Once you got this, it is smooth sailing. Y'all are doing amazing. You are. I promise.
Maybe back to the notes that, talking about negatives.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, guys. We've got 8 minutes left until 2. We got a little more time. We've got a few more problems left on here. We just did 18. We just have 4 left, and then I'm going to let you leave. So let me write down the answer. It was 2p minus 1. Okay, and I'll leave this up. If anyone is still writing notes, feel free to take them. And here's another little note. So I changed it from plus to minus. I add the minus. That's really what's happening.
Yeah, it's like I made some notes.
Yeah. Change these signs. Negative is just another word for opposite. So anytime a negative is involved, you're flipping something and making it opposite. Okay. All right, does anyone still need this before I go back to the worksheet? I see a few of you writing. I'll pause. I'll let you finish. Okay, I don't want to rush anyone.
Is there a note above that?
Yes. Let's see. This was all the notes we wrote today. Is that okay to see? Can y'all see that all right? Okay, it keeps wanting to not focus. There we go. Maybe that would help a little. And I also want to remind you guys, if there ever is a day that you miss, or even if you're here and are just wanting to see my notes, you can always ask me and I will happily make a copy of anything I've written for you. You just ask.
I watch your YouTube videos.
Yes.
So,
Well, good. And I'll tell you what, that is one of the best ways to learn, is to go back and rewatch what we did on Google Classroom, rewriting notes, just writing it again. There's something about the connection between writing things in your brain. It makes you learn it better. It really does. So if you don't know how to study, I'm going to tell you, that's the way I always studied, is I would just take out my notebook and write them again. I would just write the same thing over. And it really helps. It does. Might sound silly. Yeah, you're looking at it again and you're tricking yourself into studying. It works.
Okay.
That's right. Okay.
That's true.
Yes. Do we still need this? If so, I can wait. Yes, no, maybe? No.
I would like to have a copy of your.
You got it. Yes, just come to me after class and I can make copies for anyone who wants them.
Yeah, I like copies.
Yes, I can do that. Okay. Last 4.
negative 11 plus positive 20 in.
Let's see. Oh, come on.
Yes.
Focus. I'm going to try to write my work just really tiny. Maybe I need to use a pencil. Okay, so before we get the answer, what do I do first?
4 minus 5 plus 3.
4 minus 5 plus 3. But there's parentheses here.
You
Uh-oh.
do it,
Parentheses first.
minus 5, for minus, a 4. 20 in.
Yes, so we're taking this minus 5 and it's being distributed. So negative 5 times negative 4n is
20.
positive 20n. Okay?
Minus
And then negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. And what are we missing? We still have 4. That's a positive 4. So I'm going to bring it down. 4 plus 20n minus 15. Now this one is a little involved. There's a lot of steps that we could break down and explain a little better.
4 minus negative 15.
What's 4 minus 15?
Negative 11.
Negative 11. So 4 minus 15 negative 11. So we have 20 in minus 11. Okay, now this one I'm going to circle and maybe we can come back to it just because we're almost out of time today and I don't think we'll have time to get into an in-depth explanation, but that's going to be our answer, okay? If you're a little confused on that one, don't worry. We can go over it next time I see you on Monday.
Turn this in today.
Nope, you don't have to turn it in. You can keep it, hold on to
What
it.
about my ticket 9?
Let me see. Did I mark you off?
No, I got it right here.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
trying to work it out, but I can't, I'm getting mixed
Okay.
up.
I'll look at it with you. Okay. All right, guys, for the rest of these, the answers are on the back. I don't want to keep you because I know some of you have classes for 4th period. So let's end it there. You guys have a great weekend. No exit ticket today. It's Thursday. I'm going to keep that promise. No exit tickets on Thursdays. And yeah, that's it. The end. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Yes.